The heartbeat indicates an independent human life, and as a pro-life physician who advocates for the fetus as well as the mother, that human life should be allowed to continue.
That was Dr. Ingrid Skop, a pro-life OB-GYN in the state of Texas. She was one of the 2 pro-life witnesses last week at a House hearing on the abortion issue. Dr. Skop was grilled by pro-abortion Democrats about Texas's heartbeat law. And joining us now on Zoom is Dr. Ingrid Skop, a pro-life OB-GYN and associate scholar for the Charlotte Lozier Institute. Welcome, Dr. Skop. It was an intense and emotional Capitol Hill hearing last week on abortion. If I have this right, you were one of only 2 pro-life witnesses. What was your message to lawmakers last week?
The reason I went to DC was to help cut through the euphemisms and the obscuring of the scientific data that occurs in the abortion debate. I went as an obstetrician to advocate for one of my patients who's too often neglected, and to discuss the inconvenient fact that the Texas Heartbeat Act is prohibiting abortion at the time of the heartbeat, which is universally recognized as a sign of life. And too many people, I think, don't think about the individual, unique human that is the fetus.
Yeah. I love that you said you have 2 patients as an OB-GYN. Doctor, the hearing and the recent Women's Health Protection Act are both responses to the recent Texas heartbeat law. You are a pro-life OB-GYN in Texas. What are your thoughts on the Texas heartbeat law and how abortion advocates are responding to it with the Women's Health Protection Act?
My goal is to discuss this issue outside of the realm of politics, because people tend to take their side based on who they identify with, and to discuss it as a human rights issue. The legislation are both extremes. The Texas Heartbeat Act, it is a moral victory, because this is the first time in 48 years that a state has been allowed to place restrictions on the procedure of abortion. The first time, because Roe does not allow that. The reason that it was able to go into effect is because there were some special procedures put in place that allowed the usual judicial enjoinment not to be able to happen. So that was great. But when you have a society that continues to treat sexuality the same way that it does, and then you place a prohibition, it's concerning, because there are already people trying to advocate for illegal abortions in Texas. And I care for the women. I don't want them to go through the danger of an illegal abortion. So we have a lot of work to do to change hearts and minds about abortion. Legislation alone is not going to be the solution. But the flip side, the Women's Health Protection Act codifies Roe. Most Americans do not know what Roe does. What Roe did is it formed a trimester system where no prohibition is allowed in the first trimester, only prohibitions for safety in the second trimester, but subsequent Supreme Court decisions, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, says that only if it doesn't place any kind of a burden. And only in the third trimester, you can only prohibit abortion, but you must allow exceptions for health of the mother. And health includes physical factors, emotional factors, psychological factors, familial age. So essentially, any abortion can be justified at any time in pregnancy with the way Roe is written, and also with the way the Women's Health Protection Act is written. So it's very, very extreme legislation.
Well, I'm just so grateful for your medically accurate language and for your testimony last week. Dr. Ingrid Skop with the Charlotte Lozier Institute, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.